prices, both from kind of growing in Australia and from Australia to the regions and vice versa, as well as deploying these ag pilots into the regions with a particular need for industries such as in Vietnam. On top of that, we also have done a whole series of digital transformation and strategies and policies of looking at how technology and ag technology will play in the industries and informing that policy changes in the regions for kind of the next phase of deployment. We are one of the largest dedicated AgTech teams in the regions, collectively over 100 years of expertise. And this is our teams on the page. So over 28 of professionals spread across every part of Australia, in the major cities and regional areas, as well as our colleagues both in Singapore and Vietnam as well. So this does not also include our lovely advisors who has local expertise in the regions as we go into these projects. So a few things to highlight about what we have done so far. If I can break it down, it's kind of 3 components. So we do a lot of multi-year projects, and most of those projects are related to more policies and investment settings. So one of the key projects we're currently delivering is under the ACIR programs in Indonesia, when we work with local Indonesia university to look at what are the policies enable for AgTech to be adopted, and what are the local settings we can look at as we see the gaps of introducing technology to address these challenges on the ground. Also that include a project we're currently already run with the International Rice Institute in Philippines, where looking at, they had huge portfolios of research that has been done in the rice cultivation space, but the translation has not been up to the standard. So what does that really mean? What are the translation strategy need to be happen in the space so that they can really deliver the impact of providing these rice into the global south and developing countries, i.e. they are one of the major R&D producer for rice in this case. So as you can see, a lot of more strategy part and the policy part really look at holistically how these organizations need to really look at the next phase. But on top of that, we do a lot of underground, like what we call it, what's happening on the ground. So that is through the strategic partnership we have in the regions, and deliver through programs we call like these living platforms. So landing pads, and also Australia and Vietnam partner for Climate Smart, and also I'll talk about the Venture Studio Forum. So these are the 3 kind of key areas how we deliver kind of innovation. So that includes Venture Studio. Hello. Sorry, I don't want to bombard you. Yeah, so Venture Studio. So what it is think about it as like a dedicated group of venture builders who are experienced entrepreneurs, and the mission is really looking at that early stage of we call it research commercializations and venture creation space, and how to translate those inventions, often in the settings of universities typically, and translate that research actually into investable and venture backable business that can translate the impact into local settings or global settings. On top of that, like we also seeing a lot of these scale-ups. We call it these AgTech scale-ups or business that has been growing in different parts of the world. Everybody from Europe or Latin America and US coming to the regions into Indo-Pacific, Asia-Pacific. And what does that, how can they translate their technology into the local settings that will benefit like Indonesia and Vietnam, to really understanding how that would difference between large farming practice to smallholder farmers and what that benefit will look like. And also into that industry innovation space, where we know many of the agribusiness in the regions is looking at how they can be more sustainable, really looking at that next phase of ESG, but where does technology fit into that transition, and how can they leverage the technology so that can address the triple bottom lines as they grow into that more sustainable business in the future. So that's where we play different part of the role across this kind of whole entire innovation life cycle. So this is like a good visualizations, like as many of you probably in the research settings, what we typically do is, once the research or the proof of concept has been developed, this is where our venture studio really comes in. Imagine you have these prototypes and labs in the space, but really haven't really figured out what that business case really look like. but you're entrepreneurial, you figure out what that problem could be. Where we take over is you will work with directly with a group of venture builders to really look at to say how this can be translated both into the local setting you've looked at, but also what is that global competitiveness for your business to really scale. And sometimes that means a regional lens into that space as well. So we do that through like 4 stages of crossing a commonly known valley of death, where we have like lovely technologies, but it's always a technology push in terms of market pool. By navigating these 4 components, we really help you to really overcome that. So by the time you actually build a business, it's actually sustainable and you can deliver the impact you intended to do. So that includes, R&D, IP extraction, so commercialize that out of university settings, for example, or license the right technology from the developers you work with, and also develop that concept really, specific to the customers you're dealing with. And then when you are ready for that kind of commercialization, really create the companies, get in the field trials in the rooms, scale it up, and do all of these validations that agriculture really needs to see before they can invest. And then once you go to that, actually ready to go to market with the commercial plans and the sales plan go to the market. So that's where the venture studio comes in. Is we've seen many of these innovations across different technology spectrums and different crops. And as you know, agriculture is not homogeneous. It's every different, different industries and different crop systems actually having quite different way of go to market. So having a collective cohort base with venture studio will help you to overcome and de-risk all these multifaceted risks as you commercialize it. So that's where the venture studio model is. What we do in this case is we provide this systematic methodology and expert teams to really help you to scouting the innovations, but also build and launch it. So that can combine with everything from actually giving you the industry connection you may not have in the particular regions, as well as really sometimes matching you with the commercial talent actually you may not have, so that actually co-building the company with you. On top of that, getting the investor connection who actually really looking at that agtech innovations and investment. And then during that process, actually funded by venture studios with the working capitals, so you can commercialize these early activities before you are ready for that private investor or other major funding bodies giving you that critical early capitals before they kick in. So thanks to the Australian government, we've been actually testing and building one of the world's first venture studio focused on drought and climate resilience in the past 18 months. And so far, we had very pleased to say that we worked with over about 85 innovators across Australia. This is out of over 17 universities in Australia. And that's a third of the researchers, so a third of the innovators come from research settings, and the other rest is entrepreneurs and engineers from other adjacent industries. And out of those, we have seen quite significant interest, but also traction of how this model works in realities and in settings. That include over 9 of these commercial offerings in the market. They're actually selling and generating revenue already after kind of over 18 months in the space. And also a number of them are already doing customer trials. And we also have companies who have over 75 of our portfolio companies actually have received private investment term sheets or investment in place. So that means private investor coming in to help them to go into the next phase. Collectively they have secured up to $5 million from non-diluted public fundings as well as private capital. So still early days. What we know that in venture studios and in agricultural trial settings, these things are multi-year investments. So we are still in the early days of seeing how these tractions and impact really deliver. But I think the early indications show that there's a lot of inventions in the ecosystems, and I think a lot of researchers and innovators who has transformative technologies. What we're here to do is helping them to unlock and de-risk what that commercial outcome look like so that they can deliver that impact they intended to be. But we also know you can't do it alone. You need a whole village to raise a child, and that absolutely is true in the venture creation space. So what we're here to do is really helping you to have all these key resources so that you can overcome that and deliver the impact. I want to highlight 2 kind of innovators that is working with the Drought Venture Studios with us right now. The reason we're highlighting them is not only they are researchers currently in the Australian universities, but they also come from Southeast Asia regions. So the first one is Huyen Fan. She is a current PhD candidate, study at the University of Western Australia. And she is currently working with us around the her PhDs, where she studied the rhizome sheath, which is the thin layers of the root structures, and the correlation between that and the potential discovery of drought resilience crops. So what she has developed of this new venture early days is able to use a new phenotyping method to analyze roots on the spot, so that you can get instant root data instead of waiting for months and months of typical pre-breeding trials. So instead of using months, and you can cut it by 80% of the times and get much more precision data, which is critical for early days of pre-breedings in these crops such as wheat, to get the early phenotyping data to go alongside with genotyping data. So the box you see on the screen is what she has as a prototype, and she has already identified, using this new method, she was able to identify new 2 wheat crops much early on than the traditional process. And she's getting interest from other researchers who want to use this tool as developing next phase. So for her, this is the first project outside of a research settings, and for her it's still early days, but we're seeing promising of getting this implemented into a research setting first before going to a commercial breeding area. And the other one I want to highlight is Nanosoil Bio. So Conview is currently an adjunct fellow in the UNSW's School of Chemistry, which is a fascinating story. When he started his research, he was studying in cancer research, so nothing related to ag. But during this process, what he found out is this nanotechnology they use for cancer drug delivery actually can be used in agriculture setting as well. Turns out this same structure can be used as a delivery mechanisms to form these nano formulation that enhance the pesticide adhesions, so that you can use less pesticide when you're deploying them, and it's biodegradable, so once you use it, it will disappear as well. So you can actually deliver, deliver this pesticide on target, and also it will preserve the water. So he actually won the ABS Science Innovation Award for this technology for managing drought stress in cottons. So he has already raised, investment money is actually in the space. So he's going for multi-trials across across cottons, livestock, so ryegrass, as well as into other areas as we speak. So very, very fast in terms of commercialization in areas by leveraging UNSW's lab resources, but able to translate that directly into multiple agriculture industries quickly than what he couldn't do in the research setting. So marching ahead, building the companies as we speak, and a wonderful example of what we see international researchers deliver impact in Australia with a global trajectory. So last thing to take away is if you are a researcher or a knowledge institution looking for kind of commercializing or accelerating your pathway, so you have some innovation in the back of your pocket, we'd love to talk to you. What we're doing in the Drought Studio is really a beginning, and we're expanding into Southeast Asia and believing that there's many innovations happening in the regions also will need to be translated and want to be translated faster into ag tech startup settings. So if you're a part of that, love to talk to you today. And also, we also know like we can't do this just by having the the startups and innovating in the space. We have seen a huge amount of support and interest from agribusiness who want to take on these innovations, but we also know there's a gap for them to really get this in the commercial decisions. So if you're in that settings and want to know what that look like, we're happy to have a chat as well. And end of the day, what we're delivering is a public benefit. What we believe is many of the innovations should not sit in the papers and should be in the field. So if you are in part of that ecosystem, believing there's a role for that impact to be played, love to talk to you as well. And I don't know if we have time for questions, but thank you for your time today. Thanks.
Thank you. Ooh. Is that working? No. That's okay. I have a really loud voice. Yeah, pressing the button, that works. Thank you so much, Anna, for that presentation. And we've had the pleasure of working with Beanstalk through the Australia-Vietnam Policy Institute for a number of years now, and they're an exceptional organisation. And so if you do want to reach out, Anna's details are right there, but for anyone online or anyone in the room today, you also have the Asia Hub's email that you would have been receiving across the week, and please reach out to us and we're happy to put you in contact as well. The next organisation up today, the next person up today is Alex Cross, who is the Program Lead for Zero Waste City at the City of Melbourne. If you could welcome Alex. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon everyone in the room, and good morning I think to those joining online. So yeah, I'm Alex Cross, I work at City of Melbourne. I'm in the Circular Economy team and I'm the Program Lead Zero Waste City. And today I'm going to give you a bit of an insight into a project that we've recently run called the Queen Victoria Circular Economy Precinct. So before I do that, I'll just give you a quick, get out of the light, a quick profile into the City of Melbourne. So we have approximately 190,000 people living within our municipality, and about 80% of those residents live in high-rise buildings. We have quite a young median age group of around 30. And 46% of our residents speak a language other than English at home. We have a really high rental community, and of our residents, we have approximately half experiencing some form of food insecurity. And to give you a bit of an insight into our waste diversion, we are quite poor, which is something that we're really working on improving, and that number sits at 28.5% at the moment. So tackling climate change through a circular economy. We've done a bit of research, and the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which is a great resource that we lean on, identifies that 55% of global emissions can be addressed through energy efficiency and renewables, and that creates a big opportunity for the circular economy. And as we stand at the moment, we primarily exist within a linear economy. So as you can see on the graph, on the picture on the right, we have a high amount of the take, make, use and dispose, which often creates a very high amount of pollution. And circular economy has been identified as a way to address the remaining 45% of that emissions gap. And that's done through design and rethinking how we make and use materials, products and food. So using these principles to inform some of our work, we've tried to implement some of these solutions in the Queen Victoria Market Circular Economy Precinct. So the Queen Victoria Circular Economy Precinct is in partnership with Street. Street are a social enterprise that have a place within the Queen Victoria market. It's called the Purpose Precinct, where they have 3 retail outlets that provide social enterprises with a front door into the retail space, and most notably they have a moving feast kitchen. And the kitchen exists to claim unspoiled food from the market and recreate that into new products. The Purpose Precinct was established in 2022, and we identified this area of the market as a great way to support an existing initiative to embed further circular economy solutions. So the Circular Economy Precinct is made up of 3 core initiatives: the reuse pilot, scaling the circular food, and circular retail and repair. I'll do a little bit of a deep dive into 2 of these initiatives that are either completed or ongoing, but for the circular retail and repair, which we've got planned for early next year, we are looking to embed some repair workshops at the market in partnership with Street, and also using those repair workshops to connect with another program that we run. So this is an iteration of the Kensington Circular Economy Precinct, and one of the supporting initiatives in the Kensington project was the Kensington Repair Hub. So a quick snapshot of the reuse pilot. So as I said, we partnered with Street, who have the Purpose Precinct at Queen Victoria Market, and we ran a reuse pilot with around 12 food vendors at the market for 3 months. So that concluded at the end of September this year. And the reuse pilot was designed to test the feasibility and appetite of reuse in place of single use at the market. So these 12 food vendors were provided with reusable alternatives to single use, and B Alternative were the contractor that provided the reuse system and had a on-site washing facility, some signage there, and at the end of the pilot, we managed to divert or avoid over 40,000 single-use items from entering the material flow, with a less than 2% loss rate on those containers. It also provided other benefits, having B Alternative provide the reuse pilot, and they were able to, for those that have been to the market, consolidate about 14 bins down to 2 bin stations, and also introduce an organic service, which is the first time that the market has done that in the public place. We were also able to divert over 2 tonnes of organic waste from the reuse pilot, and having B Alternative operate within that space. Next is the scaling circular food manufacturing. So I mentioned before the moving feast kitchen, which exists to recover food waste from the market and turn that into new products. Previously, the moving feast kitchen, or up until the start of this project, had repurposed most of those food products into sauces and jammed retailable items. And what we've been able to do is utilise the moving feast kitchen and recover food to provide nutritious meals to those who need it. So this initiative it's 2 weeks in, and we've been able to provide 100 meals to date through the Lady Huntingfield Community Centre. So what's next? So as I've spoken about, at the moment we're looking at we've been piloting projects and programs to embed circular principles into our operations and our community. The next stages of these projects, we're hoping to partner with and co-fund, build on what works, and demonstrate to our stakeholders the impact that the circular economy can create, with ultimate goal of scaling to expand that benefit to the entire community. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Alex. And again, such a pleasure to work with the City of Melbourne across a couple of our initiatives. And I know City of Melbourne has a great city relationship with the City of Bandung, is it? And so lots of great opportunities to chat to Alex if you get a chance to today. And our final presentation for this session is from Clinton Muller, who is a research fellow at RMIT, but also a senior consultant with RM Consulting Group. Thanks, Clinton.
Great. Cheers, Britt, and g'day, everyone. Thank you for having me along today. So I'm going to try and talk a little bit about some of the opportunities from a research lens and the interaction with policy, but when the boots hit the ground and what that actually translates to operationally for industry as well. And I thought I'd chose the topic of emissions, because I think certainly in the context of a climate change conference, we've got to be really conscious about emissions that are happening, but how does that translate to actual practice change? I want to share a bit about what is happening in the Australian landscape, and particularly from the horticulture sector, which I shouldn't have favourites, but it is my favourite industry out there, and particularly linked into the fresh produce and from a food security lens as well, has a lot of applications and relevance for us globally. So a bit of a snapshot and narrowing into Australia. Australia's horticulture industry is our 3rd largest agricultural sector. So this is behind beef and grains. That's where we see the horticulture sector coming in. So it's punching above its weight these days. It's only an $18 billion industry domestically. About 7 billion tonnes produced annually. We are seeing an uplift within growth in Australia domestically. So this is quite curious to see continued growth within our agricultural industries, which is very exciting. And certainly some power is coming through from our berries industries, melons, avocado, and vegetables. We're also seeing some growth in export, but export's not a huge focus for our fresh produce sector. That's very much dominated in the Australian landscape from some other industries. But certainly we are seeing an increase there in some crops like citrus, macadamias, and summer fruit as well. We do have a very highly diverse agricultural industry. That figure up there, about 35,000 horticulture businesses, is a little bit old. We've seen a lot of consolidation happen, but certainly there's a lot of diversity that exists within our farming groups, from very small mum and dad farmers to very large corporates that are very much dominating the supply chain. So when we come to an emissions perspective, from a national contributions, agriculture sits about 14%. That number is probably not quite correctly capturing the full extent of our emissions. So if we think about some of our scope 3, our upstream and downstream related to the transport sector, as a collective, we're probably sitting more around a 20% level across the industry. But having said that, you'll see there in the red that I'm just narrowing in on our friends in horticulture, and they sit at less than 1% of those total national emissions. So it's quite a small contribution for a relatively large industry. What you'll also see up there is our national emissions, so about 10.6% attributed to enteric methane, so very much a strong livestock sector we have in the Australian market, with a lot of ruminants out there, but also some of our manure management systems happening within our intensive livestock systems. Our second biggest emitter coming through is our nitrous oxide. So what that is being attributed to is a lot of the crop residues, but also our fertiliser emissions at scale that are happening across our large cropping areas. And then secondary to that are some smaller emissions around our carbon dioxide outlets. So what's driving some change we're seeing here in the national dialogue within an Australian context? So we've just, late September, the Australian government released their new revised targets for 2035. They're quite ambitious targets that have been set out. So we are now looking at a 62 to 70% reduction on our 2005 levels by 2035. So that's been quite a jump from our previous commitments of 43%. And we're still working towards a 2050 target at a national level of net zero. What has been quite curious has come out with the latest revision targets, and that brings in our agricultural sector into the discussion, is a new roadmap, a land sector action plan that looks at the opportunities for decarbonisation within our agricultural industries, but also sequestration opportunities within agricultural land and the opportunities within revegetation activities and increasing soil carbon content. It also does that in a harmonisation with the balancing between recognising the continued growth and food production opportunities on our agricultural land base. So we've got some policy targets that have kicked in from a government perspective, but where we really see the opportunities coming through is agriculture and scope 3, so the corporate targets and drivers. So Australia is very much at a national scale an export-driven agricultural sector, and we're seeing a lot of dominance in terms of our outputs going into supply chains and meeting scope 3 emissions downstream, and making sure that we can produce the lowest emissions intensity of Australian products that we can. So currently there is very limited reporting requirements for Australian farmers. The majority of it is voluntary based. So many corporate farmers, to address shareholder concerns, have embraced ESG, environmental social governance, which emissions intensity is a key feature of that. And we're seeing an increased adoption of reporting coming through voluntarily from our corporates. However, we did have some changes to the Australian Corporations Act, which did require mandatory climate-related financial non-disclosure reporting to kick in. And because we do have some very large agricultural businesses, they are now required to report against their emissions. But we're also seeing an increased adoption and the need for scope 3 emission reporting to come through from those within the supply chain as well. So we're seeing a greater conversation piece within Australian agriculture to make sure that we can demonstrate reduced emissions that are kicking in. How that then translates to our industries is that they have adopted some very voluntary-based programs. So up on the top left, you'll see that great flower. This is our National Farmers Federation, have adopted the Australian Agricultural Sustainability Framework, the AASF. And that's a great platform in which the national industry can communicate what sustainability looks like in the Australian industry. Because I'm focusing on horticulture today, we do also have individual industry sustainability frameworks. So there's the People, Planet and Profit outlined there from Hort Innovation. They own the Hort Sustainability Framework that has been adopted. We then translate to what we start to report against at an industry level. We have a large consortium, the Australian Fresh Produce Alliance, that represent more than 50% of Australian fresh produce that is produced. And to address growing concern or confusion amongst industry, develop some common greenhouse gas accounting framework. And we also are very fortunate at a national level to have some national environmental accounting tools that are currently managed through AIA, Agriculture Innovation Australia. So we get consistency across emissions reporting at a national level. So for our horticulture growers, where are they today? Well, they're getting confused. And for the most part, we're navigating the system about what does this mean and what they require to report and how that translates to practices on ground. And the reason why I've picked on horticulture is it's quite a unique industry because we already are low emissions based. We're a very low emitter and there are very marginal opportunities for improvement. Subsequently, and I'm not sure how this applies in other regions of the world, but certainly there's a low literacy level around emissions and what emissions opportunities are within the sector. We also have a lot of variability in terms of emissions that are coming from these different systems and including in different geographic regions and also within individual supply chains. We're also learning a lot and the importance of partnership and partnering with researchers to look at the various tools that are available, but also calling out some of the existing limitations with these tools. So certainly from a greenhouse accounting perspective, we do have limitations with these particular tools and the variability between annual and perennial systems, but then also other systems such as increasing protected cropping farm systems in which we don't currently have platforms or tools to report against domestically. And we also look at a good practice, and what we talk about is adoption of good practice or better practices by our Australian farmers. And this is a transition that a lot of farmers have gone over for a very long period of time, and it always makes sense to have good farming practices, good carbon farming as well, but the introduction of emissions intensity and carbon farming into the vernacular of Aussie farmers. So what does this look like going forward in the future? Well, we're certainly seeing incremental but important gains. So industries like horticulture, circularity is a really key, energy efficiency coming through, but also looking at reductions in input use and input use efficiency. We're also shifting the conversation from just on emissions, but also bringing in that sustainability lens as well. So certainly recognising the importance of productivity, resilience, profitability, and most people are centred into that discussion. One thing to note is the importance of fresh produce being particularly a national asset. And for the first time, the Australian government is currently out consulting for the first ever national food security strategy. So a very critical point in time for us to consider about how important agricultural systems are. What we do recognise though, broadly, is the importance of global markets and having low emissions intensity as that passport to trade. So certainly having that access to different markets by reducing scope 3 within the supply chain through our emissions intensity. And finally, just some immediate next steps and some more opportunities for future research is measurement capability, data confidence, and particularly data interoperability. So making sure that the systems and the data can network together to support that ongoing push for lower emissions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Clinton. So thank you everyone for joining us for that session, whether you're here or online. It's one of the great things, as I mentioned, we like to do as part of the RMIT Asia Hub is to really ensure we're bringing academia, industry and government into the same room and having great conversations. So if we could please give Anna, Alex and Clinton another round of applause. Thank you. And I'll pass back over to our very capable MC, Andrew.
Thank you so much. And I believe, and thanks so much. Thanks so much for the presentations. And sorry, I was only here for the last couple, but I believe we've got a couple of online presentations live with us. Is that correct? Starting in a minute. Do we have two people who are going to be presenting online? All right. So we're using the wonders of modern technology, and they're going to be here, but they're not really here. So we'll just give them a moment to fix that up. And then I'll be also presenting a couple of presenters from in the room. This particular session's focusing on the nature of agriculture and climate change. And I think Clinton's presentation, for example, is a really good example of how we see the agronomic and economic issues coming together with some forces that are both national and international around expectations of climate accounting and other things. And we're going to see if we can present some of those. And my good friend, Professor Chi, is here online, who was going to be in the room, but unfortunately is unable to make it. And so I'd like to introduce you and ask you to first speak. And I believe I probably need to switch this mic off, I think, if it makes sense. So, Professor Chi, if you can please present to us.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we
All
can.
right. Thank you very much, and thank you very much to have me now at a very much important event. And I'm sorry that I cannot join you in person, but actually I hope with the presentation now I can introduce you some. No, I can enter the echo. Can you hear me well?
No, it's fine. Chi, please go on.
All right, it's okay. Yep. So I hope I can introduce you a bit on Mekong Delta and then how it helps to work with the basin and the ocean as a hub as well. So next, please. Next, please. All right. Can you go for next? Again, next, please. Yep. So with the presentation here, I want to bore you with on the number here. You see that the area is of the agriculture and agricultural products, and it is not to serve for the national but international market. Sorry, I hit the echo. Can technical guys help me to stop the echo? All right, it's good now. So I'm sorry for the complexity of the technical problems. But anyway, so Mekong Delta is very much important for the agriculture, agricultural products. I learned that some are now have been supported and exported to Australian market as well. So actually, the delta is where land, water, and livelihood intersect, serves as a strategy downstream hub to connect the basin to the sea for food security, climate resilience, and regional collaboration. And then next, please. Next slide, please. All right. So even though the land, even though the Mekong Delta is important, but it has quite different problems. For example, like we are having the impact. We are right in the middle at the end of the Mekong basin, so we receive all the impacts from the upstream part. So as you learn from from different sources, the upstream main hydropower dams developed cause the shortage of water, chances of the sediment loaded downstream, and also we have the sea level rise. And very much recently, just yesterday and over the past 7 days, we have the high flood affected in Mekong Delta and what we also call the historical flood in this delta. So the delta is facing different challenges, threatening food security and livelihoods, and also the social stability. Next, please. All right. So then, how can we can keep going on in this delta? The government have already set quite some policies to support the delta. For example, like the resolution 120. If any of you have learned about the Mekong Delta, you should learn about the resolution 120. It is to establish a framework for climate resilience, sustainable development in the Mekong Delta, iterating the MBS solutions into land, water, and agricultural planning. The next resolution is the resolution number 57. It is to promote science, technology, and innovation as key drivers for sustainability. And the one listed at the end of the list over there, we have resolution 68. It is to empower farmers, enterprises, and business as co-creators for adaptive solutions. And you know, like we have the government have developed the new national programs, what we call the 1 million hectare of high quality rice, which is to have to improve the environment, to have to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, and also it is to have to improve the rice quality for the better market. So actually, those policies help us to bridge science and practice, positioning nature-based solution at the heart of the Vietnam transition towards resilience and sustainability. Next, please. All right, and I think we use the old slide of mine, but anyway, what I want to say here is that the Delta is very much developed in a way to be developed now, and urbanization is rapidly transforming the Delta. With that, the cities, the expanding of the city bring both opportunities and challenges. For example, like we have the land use competition, we have the infrastructure demand, we have the shifting of labor patterns, the changes of the work in the Delta also change the labor patterns in the Delta, which you have learned a lot already about the out migration. So with those, the Delta need to be developed uh, towards somewhat more sustainably, right? So diversification, technical integration, sustainability-oriented practices are what we promote. I say what we promote is very much about the role of Cần Thơ University and of the Mekong Institute at Cần Thơ University where I'm working now. So we are a hub for science, business, in community and government to work together. So we try to convert from our scientific knowledge and from international body to bring the right impact to the Delta. Next, please. In the Delta. Next, please. Yep. In the Delta, we are having quite some, what we can say now, interesting adaptive farming system. So for example, like we have the shrimp and the rice in the same plot, the shrimp cultivation and the rice cultivation in the same plot. Some shrimp is with the freshwater based cultivation, so it is quite understandable on how the shrimp and the rice can stay together. But in other cases, we also have shrimp with the brackish based water to stay in the same plot of the rice cultivation as well, but at different times. So those bring us the mixed farming system to protect the livelihood of local people, and there are quite some studies to say that the integrated farming system bring better benefit than the others. We also have the farmer to go with the high-tech applications. So on the cartoon, you can see that we have developed quite some monitoring stations right in the field at the farmers field. So we try to have them to learn about the environment and how to make use of the better fertilizer and pesticide, for example. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah, so it is now about the path forward. So with the slide here, I just want to introduce you quite something that we can work together. Say we will go to advance the peri-urban and climate smart agriculture, try to promote the integration of IoT, high-tech applications in the farming to leverage and expand the partnership across the border, not only just within Vietnam but also the basin And actually, like 2 weeks ago, I was in Indonesia to talk about a similar topic, and we are happy to work together with different scientists and partners elsewhere. We also care about the inclusive training for the youth and the women because first they are of the vulnerable group, and actually the youth is the future of our Belgium. And somewhere at the beginning, I mentioned about the resolutions, about the policies for the government, about the linkages between the stakeholders in the society. However, how to turn those into action are still the big concern from ourselves and from the government as well. And we would like to have your support elsewhere just to help us to think how to make those to be effectively working in the area. Next, please. So with that, I would like to thank you very much for the organizer to having me here, even though online, but it is a great effort from everyone to have me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Professor Chi. And I've learned so much coming to Cantor and the Mekong Institute in the past. So I'd encourage, as you did, anyone who was interested to reach out. The second online presentation we have is Dr. Sizalwati from Malaysia. Is that going to work as well? Just before I'm promising anything, it's not going to happen. I'm just making sure. So look, please, we're going to have to switch out of Professor Chi and onto Susan. So here we go, ready to go. I'll let it go.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. So for today, I would like to discuss about reducing climate change effects in crop production in Malaysia. Next. So basically, I think here we have a lot of issues for the climate change, occurrence of climate change in terms of burning of fossil fuel, deforestation, and use of industrial chemicals. Next. And we must agree that the agriculture activities has also contribute to the release of greenhouse gases in the form of methane and so nitrous oxide. Basically, it's come from the excessive use of chemicals. And we can see that in Malaysia, there is a severe dry spell to hit the country this year and also 2026. That will be the projection. Next. This is last year's situation where we are having a very long dry season, and it has affected our food security. Next. So based on observation data from our Malaysian Meteorological Department, there will be the increasing trend of the annual mean temperature in Peninsular Malaysia. Next. In our Sabah also. Next. And also in Sarawak. So basically, we are also facing a climate change issue. Next. So which has affected a lot of things. Next. So in Malaysia, we are having now facing an unpredictable harvest due to the climate change. And it could be due to a lot of issues due to changes in carbon dioxide levels, precipitation, and so on. So it also due to the indirect effects, maybe due to the reduction of available water, due to the long dry season, and so on. Next. So based on our Malaysia experience, if we are facing climate change, we can potentially reduce yield as much as 60%. So I think more collaboration will be needed to overcome these issues. And if we are facing the drought condition in the long term, so it will lead to inability to cultivate the rubber, palm oil, and so on. So that will be another serious issue for us. Next. So this is the real situation occur in one of the place in Malaysia, which is at Negeri Sembilan. Next. Next. You can see that there is the empty space here. We are also putting the seed there, but it's not growing because it's only used the chemical fertilizer. But the one is growing, we are using the innovative fertilizer from it's developed from our team. So we are looking forward to more collaboration in terms of testing for the products to improve the effectiveness. So we believe that the addition of stable carbon products is necessary to overcome climate change effects. Next. So our team are focusing to use the abiotic and biotic stresses mitigator in the form of biostimulants. Next. So because we know that with the abiotic and biotic stresses, the plants will reduce their growth and also their performance. So it will indirectly affect the yield. So basically, the biostimulant is not a fertilizer. Then it is a materials that can promote the plant growth when it is applied at low quantity. So we have tested one of our products with corn. Then it will increase yield as compared to the T1 chemical fertilizer, and it managed to increase 11% up to 39% if we mix both the plant extract and also biostimulants. So it's not only that, we can also increase the quality of the products that we have. For example, for maize, they can increase the sugar content. So for this case, you can see that the second one is the one with the water deficit, and we are able to improve the yield with the presence of biostimulants. And with the biostimulants, we are increased yield and we also reduce the chemicals. So, but I think there will be more collaboration is needed. So we are looking forward because this currently what we do in Malaysia. We have different type of biostimulants. We have also few patents from this project, but we are looking forward to work with all of you. So thank you very much.
Terima kasih. Thank you very much. Now we've got some presentations in the room now. Is that correct? So I'm not sure whether you had an order of Sripon and we're going next. Okay, yeah. So perhaps I'll invite you to come and present now, and we'll have a chance at the end to go back and talk to everyone in terms of panel.
So
I'm going to invite you, Susilawati, in a few minutes. We're going to hear another presentation. I'm going to invite you to join in some questions in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
So good morning, good afternoon, everybody. So I would like to present about the case of Thailand, about the climate change and agriculture in urbanization Thailand. So this is the overview of my country. So we have the area about 120 million acres, and about this is about 60% is about the agricultural areas. So can I point out this detail? Yeah. So, oh my God. Okay. No. So I can talk. So the main production of our country is rice. So I'm from the northeast of Thailand, the border of Laos and Cambodia. The area is the premium rice production, and we are the main export of rice. Not just only rice. We have about a few crops like corn and palalabar and cassava. And about mainly the agricultural area is depend on rainfed. We have just only about 20% of irrigations. So here is the national production of our countries. You can see that mostly almost 50% is rice. And the area that we grow rice is in the northeast of Thailand. It depends on the rainfed. And in the center part of Thailand, we have a irrigation system is quite good, so we can grow rice all year round. And in the pinks, we grow rice orchards, and in the south of Thailand, and we grow rubber, para rubber, and palms. Yeah, this is also quite. We can export this production. So about the threat, about the climate change, it increased the frequency of unpredictable weathers. Yeah, right in our regions, the weather is changing, and we cannot predict that. We grow rice depend on the rainfed, and right now we have to move to develop the variety that that can grow in the rainfed areas. And besides unpredictable waters, the temperature is increased. That's why we have to develop the variety that can tolerate the heat. And the climate change can affect the urbanizations because of the expansion of the city, like around the Bangkok. We have a big city in the northeast Chiang Mai, and in the northeast is Khon Kaen and Ubon Ratchathani. And the quite problem is in Bangkok, around the area of Bangkok. The people change the tracks, the main agriculture, and move to the city. Why I talk about this? Because we have we are the major global food exporter. We grow rice depend on the rainfed, and in dry season we cannot grow rice in the northeast of Thailand. We grow just only in the center part of Thailand because we have a good system of irrigation. So why climate crisis impact on Thai agriculture? For this is the problem that when climate change have effects, many places they have a problem about floods or drought. The rainfall is not normal, and the temperature is increased. By now, it have a problem with the pollination, not even for rice, but for the field crops. There are many problems, and this affect yield. The yield of this major product is decreased. So it costs million of million of the baht of currency. So we have to do something. The government try to support because of this problem. The impact, another impact is water scarcity. Like I said, that just only 20% is have a good irrigation. For 80% is depend on rainfed. That is this is the problem of for the farmer to produce good products. Yeah. For the pressure about urbanizing. Yeah. So losing land is quite normal for the people around the big city, because the city is expand for especially in the very urban area around Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and Khon Kaen. It's not affect more in our province. raising land price is more attraction for the farmer. They want to sell the land and get the money and move to the city and work for the industry. Most of them like to do that. So this is impact for the weakened community. Like there are right now, the people who do the farm is for the old people. For the young people, they move to the city and they come back just only for the rice, and after that they move to the city and work for the money. For the younger generation, they seek to stable and profit. They don't want to work in the field. They want to work in the industry. Since they have the common money, they have the earn money for every month. They don't want to face for the problem of climate change. For the aging farmer, right now, even more in our country, aging society is quite a problem. So this leads for they leave the old people to do the farm. That's why the cost of living for the farmer is quite hard for this problem. As I come from am an economist, I work for rice breeder. So I want to talk about a bit about Thai rice. Rice is the major crop in our country. So the production is quite sensitive. Now with the weather, it's reduced the production quite about almost 40% of the productions. So the problem, the factors that affect the production, including rising temperatures. Drought is a major problem in our country. Flood. Right now, we also have a problem with the flooding, like Vietnam. The rice area in the central part of our country, they affect with the flooding. And besides the unpredictable seasonal like El Nino is make agricultural productions more diverse, very worse. So urbanizing's impact on rice, the squeezing of the lands, land loss, fertile rice paddy are permanent loss to housing because they want to sell, they get more money, they want to sell the land. The land is too small and divide. For the grandfather, they have a big land. From right now, the grandchildren, they want to divide land and they sell the land to make more money and live in this society. So the risk, another risk is about the flooding and water conflicts. Since there are growing city and industry, they also need water. That's why they have a conflict with farmers around the city. So they competed with water for the productions. For adaptation. So for adaptation strategy, that what I can see is we have to develop climate resilient variety that can grow for these weather fluctuations. As a rice breeder, I developed a rice variety like a multi-state tolerance that can tolerate disease tolerant, drought, submersion tolerance, blast disease, bacterial blight, or even more brown plant hopper. Besides this, we have to develop the variety that have a good quality, since we are in the area of premium rice production. So we have to set the option for the farmer. When they have a problem, they can choose our variety instead of growing Thai jasmine rice. Another strategy is we have to integrate high value crops or vegetable with the short duration rice to maximize the incomes. So we develop the rice variety or another field crop variety that have a short span. So we have compromised year round with the condition that we have to have good strategy of irrigation system. Another practice that we can compromise is we use alternate wetting, drying for reduce water use, and we have this strategy can reduce methane emission as well. For the policy support, now we need our government to support. We have policies that we can support young smart farmer. We have the policy and we implement the strategy for technology transfer to the farmers that can improve productions and quality of life of the farmers. So this is my work for breeding state tolerance rice variety for climate. So we try to develop rice variety that can have a drought tolerant, flooding tolerance, and can resistant to major blast disease and bacterial blight, and also brown plant hoppers. So we have we get the support from our funding agencies over the more than 15 years. We have to release the variety, Hom-Warin rice variety, and this is the option for the farmer in the northeast of Thailand. And after that, we implement marker assisted selection, since my expertise is about molecular breeding. So I use this technology to implement to make Hom-Warin resistant to blast, Hom-Warin resistant to brown plant hopper, and then integrate them to be the new variety that can tolerate the abiotic and biotic stress. And right now we're waiting for register a new variety for 4 or 5 varieties. So I think this is the part that I want to focus. I will go very quick for this. I will not take time. For urbanized agricultural regions, so the key effect zone is like Bangkok, Khon Kaen, and Chiang Mai. Changing land use and farm scale and convert to housing, hotel, and then industry. The farm size is reducing right now, and they shift forward to be crop rice is very short and a short cycle of the crop plants. So this urban growth change rice production in 3 main ways: for the land fragmentation, part-time farming, and water competition. This is the effect when they have a urbanization with the agriculture. Land fragmentation, they reduce to previously they have a big farm. Nowadays we now narrow to 3 to 4 right. It's less than 1 acre. So this is very, it's a problem in young generation. They don't want to do agriculture. They want to work for the industry. They migrate to the city. The people with the age for middle age, they plant the rice, and then after that they move to the city. So they don't take care of the farm. The rice yield is very low. They don't care. They move to the city. When the harvesting time is arriving, they go back and they harvest. They do this from like a normal lifespan of them. Water competition is a major problem. Yeah. So drought is a major. So the like a breeder or breeder, they have to develop the new variety that can tolerant to drought. Yeah. So this is that what I said. Impact on traditional farming is for the large scale input intensive. Right now they are less feasibility to do that. The mechanization cannot do that for the small scale farmer. So our government have to be the policy that they get together with the farmer to we call the big farming, so they can use the facility from the government. Otherwise, for small land, they cannot do using the mechanization. The production is depend on rainfall. So breeding, that what I said. We have to develop the short lifespan of the variety. We have to develop multi-stage tolerance. So we have to imply with the good agricultural practice to make the rice production is more to get more productions. So in the city right now, we can see that there are growing plants, crop plants, or like a urban in the top roof of the hotel or on the house that have less area of productions. Another strategy is we have to do with vertical farming, like in the greenhouse, to improve more production and to get the production all year round that can make more money for the farmer. But they need more money. It's difficult for them to get the loan from the government. This is another problem. And for the policy and institutional frameworks, the government have to do land zoning. Zoning of this is for growing rice, this is for growing field crop, and this is for the perennial crop plants. We have the policy for biocircular green economic models. The government put a lot of funding to get this BCG economics grow well with in every sector. Smart farmer and agri-tech is more common for our sector. We support young smart farmer. We provide the scholarship for them by the agency that get the money from the government. And we have a climate change master plan for to do the adaptive irrigation and resilient variety. They open the funding for the researcher and to get the knowledge from these projects. So the climate initiation is we have to have a new theory of agriculture, precision agriculture. Good agricultural practice is quite normal for the Ministry of Agriculture. and we have to integrate very well for the water management. Otherwise, the farmer cannot work very well for their productions. So this is Bangkok. Bangkok is the big city. So everybody want to move to the city because they have to earn more money, more than living in the suburb. We integrate our government integrate the community gardens, school programs, or other projects that can promote for this activity. This is the policy recommendation. So we all have the policy for that. This is for the policy that our government try to support. And we have the partner who do for this activity. So this is takeaway for message that what I think that we can integrate urbanization, reduce farm size. This is very true. Rice breeding must focus on resilient variety. Adaptive economy. This means that technology and policy have to be included. Urban farmer support food security is quite normal in our country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Supriya. We've had perspectives from Vietnam, from Malaysia, from Thailand, and now a Lao perspective, taking us across ASEAN. Please welcome, and Dr. Pantasan is going to talk to us about agriculture in Lao PDR, and particularly with regard to greenhouse gas emissions. So.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, for introduction. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe good morning from the participants join online. And my name is Pantasin, and I work from the National Agriculture and Forestry Research Institute in Laos. So I'm very happy that I was invited in this events. So, and let me go through my presentation.
Here we go. And here we go.
Oh.
You hit the forward button.
Okay, this is the context that I want to talk about today, why the Lao is prioritized on the green agriculture and the emission profile, and also the solution and the enable and challenge and the conclusion and how to move forward in the future. And so we talk a lot today and about the climate change, and this is the global climate change, and because the temperature is rising, and the rising of the temperature depend on the scenarios of the emission. So this is why I show this, because we all talk from the Thai presentation, Vietnam presentation, almost agree that climate change, sorry, could you move back? Okay. Yes, the climate change is the serious effect on the weather disaster like drought, flood, and increased temperature in the global. Those is the major effect on the crop production and related to the food insecurities. So to align with this, the Lao government also set up the national development goals and also international communities commitments. And for example, update from the NDC 2021 and 60% unconditional greenhouse gas reduction by 2030. And promising for the net zero emission up to by year 2050. We also set up the national strategy on the climate change, and this is some of the release of the policies of the Lao government. So, and also the last state I haven't the showing here, we released the new degrees and talk about the carbon credit. And so is it the way that we can get the carbon claiming the carbon credit from the agriculture sectors. So, and also that of course the climate change also affect not direct and indirect to the crop production, and also the economic loss as well. For example, in the flood and drought during the 2018-19, that have been a record that it's very high loss by about 750 million US dollar that caused the loss from the flood and drought. And also the agriculture, also the sector that very important for the employees, about 60%, and because the agriculture in Laos very important, that about 70% is rely on the agriculture. And of course, nowadays the climate change is a lot of the thing that come with the climate change and affect on also the livelihood of the farmer. And also I want to show you here, where does the Lao emission come from? The major is from the agriculture and forestry and other land use, and account about over 85% of the emission come from the agriculture part, or we call the pollutants. So is this why the Lao quite high? Because Lao is not industrial country. That's why the most of emission is come from the pollutants. And when we break down in the specific emission come from that, we can see that from the forest convert from the farmlands, this is the most cause the high emission from that. In this, including the shifting cultivation, and in this include and open burning also. And we can feel if you come, the participants who come from Vietnam, Thailand, or even Myanmar during the dry season, we got the problem about PM 2.5. And also the livestock is also the one of the major emission, and also the paddy rice and the other agriculture is also the source of the emission. So now also we have the framework due to the reduce the gas emission. And also we have also our strategy that the green sustainable agriculture, that also the key is the first we prioritize on the AWD, about 500,000 hectares that we plan for introduce the AWD, mean the alternative wet and dry rice cultivation. And the purpose is not only to reduce the saving water and also reduce the gas emission, and also reduce flood and burn, especially from the minimize the crop risk to burning, and also promote conventional agriculture, better livestock manure management, fertilizer use efficiency, and or even the organic fertilizer use for the cultivation, the crop. And also the example that we are implement right now, that we do, we promote the alternative wet and dry rice cultivation. This is the data. You can see that why we think that if many people believe when we grow rice, always flooding is good, but actually no. Rice is also need like other crop need an aerobic condition, and also this is the opportunity for introduce the AWD technique, and the data that we are showing on the table is show that even we not flooding, not continue flooding in the paddy, but we do the alternative wet and dry, but those techniques didn't cause the yield. And on the other hand, it seems the yield is increased compared to the conventional method or continuous flooding. So, and the other benefits is that we know that if we do an alternative wet and dry, it can reduce the gas emission, especially the methane emission from the paddy rice. And this is also that we are working on the quantitative impact of nitrogen use and to develop the sustainable nitrogen management and put the strategy for our Lao. Because we do this work because of Lao, they use less nitrogen, but we cannot get the premium price from our rice product. Why? Because we don't have the baseline data for proof that our scientific data that prove that our rice is green rice. So that's why we do on this work. We work collaboration with also the national partner and also international partner like Melbourne University, and we got the support from ACIER, and also this we focus on the nitrogen use efficiency. Use less nitrogen but get better yield, and also reduce the nitrous oxide, the one of the gas emission from the agriculture. And also that we are also similar to Thai, that we also improve the new variety. So because our own variety is not work well under the climate change right now, because somehow in some the area like we can saw that we could see that some insect or like a disease that we never seen before, but now it's happened. That's why the breeder should be improve the new variety to deal with the stress and biotic stress and abiotic stress, especially for the abiotic stress. We working with support with the Korean and Erie, and then we work on screening the rice variety tolerant for drought and the flood. And another also to deal with the gas emission, also we promote the short maturity, because even you do the rice cultivation, but if the short duration of harvesting, and then can reduce the gas emission compared to the long maturities variety. This is the one of the improve on the agronomic practices. We try to promote also the direct sealing. Direct sealing is advanced for when the water shortage or labor shortage also. This is the good practices that we promote to our Lao farmer. And also not on the upland crops, we also do the crop rotation, even the intercropping, depend on the weather condition, depend on the farmer adaptation that we found that, and especially for the crop rotation is very good, because it can improve the soil and also the capture of the carbon to the soil. This is the one of the way that reduce mitigate the gas, greenhouse gas. So, and deal with the climate change, as I talked before, the new disease outbreak in the Southeast Asia, especially affect for cassava. That this variety, we almost, we can call the promising light, that actually they already variety released in Vietnam and Thailand, but now we are preparing to release this variety. This variety is, when we look at the yield, it's not the yellow. You can see at the top in the orange highlight, and then you can see our new variety that get the higher yield and also the better starch content. And this is and also the most important, the resistance to the disease. So, and who is take the part of its implementation related to the greenhouse gas in Laos. So when we talk about the crop and also the vegetable and other farm management, and our NAFRI is take the lead organization under the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment. And also when we talk about the forest, and of course our Department of the Forestry, and also we are working collaboration with many stakeholders, including the national stakeholder and also the international stakeholder. So, and when we talk about the sustain and for the urban farming, for the low access, this is one of the challenge for our developed or even the research and also the agriculture development in Laos. So this is the one that we can see that low assessment to the financial and also improve the seed and fertilizer. So that, and in the Laos is less, the farmer, they grow the crop is less fertilizer application. The many reasons, because one is the difficult to access the credit, and also they are also need capacity building for that. And also we focus also the livestock, also the focus had been less pronounced, that, and then the crop and the forestry. And because when we among of the promotion of the compare the crop forestry, but the livestock is less than those forestry and the crop. And also the systematic barrier and the weak extension service and limits for the research and development and insufficient climate finance. And in the conclusion, so the climate resilience in Laos is we are developed, and also we also set up the framework, but somehow, as I mentioned, that sometimes it's difficult because many things come, and especially for the finance, that and also the climate change and continues day by day and never stop. And we expect that if we don't take in action that reduce the gas emission, the climate change will continue and never stop. Yep, that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, and it's great to have those perspectives. I had offered that we would do some questions, but I think we don't have the time right now, unfortunately. But I wanted to thank all four speakers for really interesting reflections, and certainly two of them are here to catch up with later to get some perspectives. I know most people here are from Australia or Indonesia and might have some interesting questions for the other speakers. But right now we were going to shift to a more of a showcase style set of presentations, and my colleague Bhavna Midha is somewhere here, and I'm going to give her the microphone. So thank you, Dr. Sizzlewati and Professor Chi, And unfortunately, we're not going to have time to get to questions. Would you like to take your bag?
Thank you. Thank you.